So this is probably the most expensive or one of the most expensive bags that I have reviewed so far on this channel. So this is the Troubadour Generation Leather Backpack, a 16-liter everyday carry backpack made out of, and I quote, lightweight, waterproof and super durable premium European calfskin leather. And the look and the build targets a, let's say, premium target demographic, which is reflected in a price tag of almost $900 US. So the big elephant in the room is obviously the pricing of this backpack, but I will get to the pricing of this backpack at the end of the video. However, I would consider, or I would kinda recommend to look at this video and keep in mind and consider the target demographic of this backpack. So not only are these people who want a good looking bag for work, meaning wearing office attire, a suit or button-up shirt. So outfits that require a bag that A, doesn't kinda be very abrasive on the garments that they're wearing, but also look good. Furthermore, I would argue that this bag kinda competes in a completely different space than the bags that I usually review on this channel. And the bag doesn't necessarily target the kind of backpack enthusiast, but more the customer that usually looks at a, let's say, luxury or premium price bracket or segment of bags and also outfit. But I would also recommend to look at the podcast/reaction video that you can see in the info tab up here, that is about expensive bags, one of which is 20,000 euros expensive and upwards. So I would recommend look at that video to kind of get a feel of other bags and this kind of premium luxury price bracket, and always keep that in mind when you kind of watch this video about this backpack. Full disclosure, Troubadour sent me this backpack for review. However, please be rest assured this is an unbiased review. They do not see this video before you will do. And more importantly, I personally believe that in some way I paid for this item anyways. Because if you consider all of the work that goes into making these videos, the testing phase, the editing and the filming stage, the post-processing with music, sound editing, color grading, then buying the music rights for these videos, paying Adobe Premiere, the software that I edit with, all of that together. And granted, the editing software I pay anyways because I'm a professional film editor. But now, if you consider all of the hours that I put into making all of these videos, and as I said, I'm a professional film editor, but to calculate, let's not use the rate that I use for me being a professional film editor, but let's consider minimum wage in Germany is, if I'm not completely mistaken, 13 or 14 euros. But let's say I would get, as a content creator, I don't know, a random number, let's say about 20 or 25. That's not a proper number, but I just want to illustrate somewhat the calculation going into this, why I consider making these reviews. Although sometimes I get these items for free, I always consider it that I have paid for that item by making these videos. So taking the calculator, let's say I review this item for a week, let's say 7 hours. So 1 hour per day for a week, for example. Then we take editing and filming. Filming, I would say also maybe 10 hours approximately. Let's just make it a little bit easier. So 17 hours, then editing, also 10 hours with color grading and music and stuff like that. And please consider, I'm actually fairly fast at this. So sometimes you need more, sometimes I need less time, but let's just say 10 hours. And that would be 27 hours. Multiply that by, let's say, as I said, minimum wage at the moment is 13 hours, but this is a specialized task. So let's say 20 or 25. Let's say 25. So times 25, that alone is 675 euros. And just keep that in mind. Even, or let's go back. Let's go 27 hours times the minimum wage then. So 14 euros. That's 378 euros. Plus all of the extra costs like music rights, Adobe Premiere, power, your equipment that you bought. And many people say, oh, you have that anyways. Yes, I do have my computer anyways. I do have the camera, but I had to invest in it. So you, from a business perspective, you always still need to calculate that in. Long story short, I don't make these videos for free. Yes, I do them in my free time, but still it is a lot of work going into making these videos, and there is a lot of costs involved in this. That is why I do believe, or I highly argue, that any product that I review is a huge investment from my side, not only in hours but also in costs. And therefore it is very important for me, because I paid for it basically, to make an unbiased review and not gloss over any of the negatives. I unfortunately see a lot of smaller creators getting items, and sometimes those items are just like 50 bucks. It's power bank or whatever, a microphone. And then they kind of, what's the English word? Is shill the right word? I'm not sure, but they kind of over promote that item instead of making a proper review, not realizing that all of the work and all of the energy, and I'm not meaning the energy yourself, but also the energy in terms of power in your house, the computers and the camera that you invested in, that all goes into making that video. And just because you got that item for free, you still, I would argue, invest much more costs and energy into that review, into that video. So why would you kind of gloss over that item? Why would you kind of over promote that item just because in your head you think, oh, I got that item for free? And a lot of viewers also, unfortunately, now have kind of learned that, oh, that person got that item for free, so that's not a really review, and that person probably glossed over that. And in my mind, I always think, no, I actually paid for this item. I got it for free, maybe sometimes, and in this case I got it for free, and this is a very expensive bag. Still, all of the time that I invest in making these videos, if you break it down, if that would be a regular job, then I would have spent much more on this video than the value of this product. That's at least my humble opinion. And from a business perspective, I still think I paid for this with my work, and therefore I'm going to give you my honest opinion about this bag. And I'm not going to gloss over this bag and just tell you the good things because I got this for free. No, I think I paid for this, and therefore I will tell you everything that goes into this review of this bag, any of the good things and any of the bad things. And I hope that cleared a little bit up how I personally approach all of my videos. So this backpack from Troubadour is basically a bag for everyone who wears work attire, a suit or button down, but as you can see, I do prefer to kind of wear casual clothing, but I can already tell this bag would work extremely well with a suit or a button up, and it is actually incredibly comfortable to carry around, no matter if I'm wearing my motorcycle jacket or if I'm wearing a trench coat or casual clothing. Furthermore, what I really liked about the material of this leather is so soft, and I do feel this is a very high quality leather that is very soft and flexible to fit all of the items inside. So with that, I really think that Troubadour succeeded with using this material, because usually when it comes down to leather, I feel like leather is very stiff and doesn't really bend to what I pack inside, at least as long as it's not like worn in or anything, but this feels very soft and worn in right out of the gate. Only thing that did not feel worn in after a couple of days and actually 2 weeks of using, the zippers are a little bit stiff, and I feel that I need to kind of lubricate these zippers to make them much more easier to open and close. So I just wrote back with the Troubadour backpack on my motorcycle. I do understand that this is an office backpack and it's not necessarily intended for motorcycle riding, but what I can tell you is it is really comfortable on my back, and even with all of the protective gear in my jacket, it does feel quite well. One thing that I noticed though is the shoulder straps are kinda designed in a way to wear the backpack on a suit, so not to be, let's say, abrasive on the fabrics of your suit or on your bottom up. But I did notice that it does feel a little bit, softish, because it has this soft coat on the padding of the shoulder strap that is somewhat like flexible in a way to reduce the abrasion on your suit or on your button up. And I would assume that if I continue wearing this backpack with my, let's say, rough motorcycle clothing or jacket, that this fabric that is on the outside of the shoulder strap could wear down after a while or a lot of rubbing back and forth. That's nothing that I can confirm or deny, because obviously I would need to test this a lot of times on my motorcycle with this kind of jacket. That being said, as I said, this backpack is not intended to be used on a motorcycle, but rather for the office with nicer clothing. Alright, I just got back home from a very long work day, changed into some comfortable clothes, but I was working on this big project at a post-production house where I basically work at a big workstation, and therefore I do not need to bring my own laptop, but I do need to bring all of the stuff like hard drives, mouse, keyboard. I prefer to work with my own peripherals, bring that all to work. And actually today was the client approval or client presentation where I kind of, not dressed up, but I look a little bit more presentable, let's say it that way. And in that regard, this backpack really worked well in terms of complementing the look that I was going for. And let's go over what I got inside this backpack, or what I've been carrying the whole days. In this front compartment, we have this, let's say, quick access compartment that unfortunately only has one zipper. I kind of like to have dual zippers with these pockets that are very exposed, because then if I would be, let's say, traveling and this would be my personal item on a plane or during my commute, I could kind of lock it in crowded places and therefore kind of prevent people opening the zipper and then going into my stuff and pocketing some of my items. First and foremost, I have the Pioneer Global pouch. This has been in a video that I will link up here. It was called From 2 to 1, which was about my extended EDC and my boo-boo kit consolidating into one pouch. And this pouch is actually fairly big. It has all of the essentials that I don't necessarily need, but that are good to have with me, like charger for my phone, band-aids, deodorant, eye drops, stuff like that. That is all in this Pioneer Global pouch that fits perfectly into this front quick access compartment. By the way, if you want to get any of these items, I will link most of those items in the description below. Those are affiliate links. With those you won't pay more, but you will support this channel with a small kickback of that sale, and if you do so, thank you very much. And obviously, to not miss any of these videos like the one that I just previously mentioned, also don't forget to subscribe. So that is the Pioneer Global pouch that I have in this front pocket. Then a new cool bolt action everyday carry pen from CVV that I will showcase in a different video pretty soon. My Swiss Army knife, chapstick, some cough drops, and that's basically it. You can kind of store them in these little slots that you can find in this quick access compartment that are great to kind of organize smaller items. So that was in this front compartment. Then there is a laptop compartment that I not really utilize, but for visual purposes I put in my S7 FE, a very old tablet that I sometimes carry with me just to have maybe a bigger display if my Fold 5 isn't sufficient enough. This laptop compartment is very well padded and suspended. There is another slot here for a tablet. that is in this back laptop compartment that actually has a dual zipper and a somewhat rain flap. Then going into the front compartment, I mentioned this a couple of times already in this video. What I don't like is that these zippers are a little bit rough and don't have a very smooth action to open and close. This is definitely something that I do not like, and I will probably lubricate the zippers at some point. But for the testing period, I did not want to lubricate them to see if they will break in and get a little bit smoother. But what I can tell you is after almost 2 weeks of use, they did not get smoother, and they just, they don't feel smooth in operation, unfortunately. My editing headphones, which are the Sennheiser HD25. I love these headphones because I have been using these for DJing many years ago. So I can tell you, these have been holding up at least 15 years. And what's so great about these headphones is everything is replaceable. So if anything would break, I could get replacement parts really easily and then just exchange the damaged item. Love these headphones. Before I go into the main compartment, there's a small zippered pocket up here where I store my wallet. Currently using the double oak wallet, which is the non-MagSafe version because I don't like to have magnets too close to my credit card or debit card. So I really like this at the moment because the leather is amazing, and I kind of want to use this as long as possible to see how this will patina, because as many of you know, I love my extra wallet and I have been using this for many years, and it got a really cool patina, and I want to do this the same and use this as long as possible to see if this will patina as well. But this leather is amazing, and I feel like that this will look great in a couple of months. Then I have a small little granola bar, and that's basically it in this front zippered compartment. Then first and foremost, I have my Evergoods Cap 2 liters, which has my mouse, charger, SSD, Samsung T5 that I'm working on for this project, and everything else like a USB hub that I need for the mouse with my unified receiver, because I'm using the Logitech MX Master 1. The Logitech MX Master 3 or Generation 3 is on main station, but if I'm going to a client, I'm just bringing my old MX Master, and it's working still great. So that is the testimony to these Logitech MX Master mouse that are really working quite well. And I put the unified receiver on the USB hub where my name is on there. That is fairly big. If I connect it to the computer that I'm working on, I'm pretty sure I won't forget it because I can see that big USB 3 hub on there. Then next is my keyboard, which is the Timber keyboard that I customized with Gateron yellow switches and custom keycaps. And I really love this keyboard. It works well, and I do prefer working with my own keyboard, A, because this is mechanical, and B, because I'm pretty sure it A, works, and B, more importantly, is clean. Then you have a couple of slots here to kind of organize the items that are smaller and that you kind of want to also utilize the vertical space, so these smaller items just don't lay on the ground of the bag. So in one slot I have my DJI Pocket 3, which is currently recording me. I store that in this slot. I have my prescription sunglasses. These I just chucked them on top of everything. I have a small little Bluetooth keyboard that I utilize in combination with my phone, which is the Samsung Fold 5, and that combination basically is my MVP because that helps me to not bring a laptop because I can do everything on my phone, and that's amazing. Then you have another zippered pocket that I actually did not utilize, because if you put anything here in addition to anything in those slots up here, then it kind of bulks out and gets in the way of your bigger items, like for example the Evergoods Cap 2. But it's great to have if you want to kind of organize smaller items, or maybe for example your passport. If you're traveling with your passport, that would be a great place to store those important but flat documents in this zippered compartment. And otherwise, a t-shirt that I Ranger rolled at the bottom as well. That's basically everything that I carried on a daily basis for this project. Alright, now let's talk about my verdict about the Troubadour Generation Leather Backpack. And I have been using this for work, and just from a visual aspect, I got a lot of compliments about the looks of this bag. I work in the advertising world, and how shallow it might be, people kind of are gravitating towards good looking things, especially in the advertising industry. And many people took note of this bag and thought that this is a good looking bag. And from my personal perspective, it also complements all of the outfits that I was wearing during my work week and during my work month in a lot of different projects where I also had a lot of client meetings with higher ups where I was somewhat dressing up. I'm not the suit kind of guy, but I do wear button ups and I kind of dress nicely for those occasions. And for those occasions, this bag worked perfectly to kind of add on to the outfit and the occasion that I was wearing it to. And I have to say, I also am not the kind of person who likes bags that are made out of leather. I love leather. I love it for wallets. I love it for belts. I love it for watch straps. But for bags, I usually did not like leather as much because for me, even once the leather was worn in and got a little bit softer, I felt that leather bags are A, too heavy, B, not as flexible in terms of the softness of the material to kind of accommodate the items that I want to pack inside, i.e. if the material is too stiff, then it wouldn't kind of adapt to bigger items that I wanted to pack inside. That being said, this leather is amazing. It's very soft and it felt, not necessarily like a leather bag to me when I was using it. I did not perceive it as a leather bag. But on the flip side, for example, when I showed this bag to my wife, she always kind of is looking for the good smell of leather. Due to the way this leather has been produced and treated, meaning it is more waterproof and more water resistant compared to other leathers, it doesn't smell like leather as you might anticipate. And she was at first thinking, is that actually real leather? Because it doesn't smell like it. But yeah, that is definitely the trade-off of this specific leather. The way it is produced and the way it is treated, it is very soft, and therefore on a day-to-day basis I really enjoyed using this bag for these properties. I have been using this once in rain, and I can say that this actually, I wouldn't say it is very waterproof compared to, let's say, let me rephrase that. No bag, in my humble opinion, is waterproof. There are these dry sacks, those are waterproof. You can chuck them into a river. But most bags that claim to be waterproof, I would argue no bag is waterproof. The fabrics can be waterproof. No water will get through many fabrics of most bags. However, you need to take into consideration seams, zippers, and other small little openings. Water will push through seams or small little gaps eventually, and therefore I don't think any bag is actually 100% waterproof. Water resistant, yes. So this bag or this fabric is much more water resistant than regular leather, but I would not consider it as weather resistant like, for example, I don't know, a Black Amber Forge or Black Amber Citadel, for example. Still, it is a very good option to protect your contents from rain. Good morning, I just woke up and I noticed it's heavily raining outside, which is a good opportunity to quickly talk about the fabrics and the materials of this backpack. As just previously mentioned in the segment before, I told you that this calf leather is very soft and is adapting quite well to the contents inside and feels very comfortable to carry around, and I really like this material. I usually do not like leather because it is, also as mentioned previously, leather usually is a very heavy, very stiff as long as it's not really completely worn in. But even once it's worn in, most leather backpacks are very stiff, and from my personal experience. But this leather is soft, it is malleable, it is flexible to the contents inside. That's what I really like. Now, speaking of rain, the leather is, and I speculate and I assume that that is the reason why this bag is so expensive, it is made or not made, it is manufactured in a specific way to actually make it. I need to kind of look at the website because there's a lot of text that describes this leather, but they say, and I quote, leather revisited, rethought, reinvented. And this is a natural vegetable tan leather that is more weatherproof or more waterproof, more sustainable, and it is lighter, according to the website. And from what I have experienced in the last few weeks testing this bag, it is actually very light and flexible. Now I can also check it out while it's raining. It is summer while I was recording this, and this is actually the first time it is raining. So I'm just about to go to work, and then I can see the weatherproofness of this bag. I'm driving with the car to work, but I will still walk through the rain. It's thundering outside. Okay, this is pretty heavy weather right now. So again, I can confirm that the leather feels amazing. This is really good. It smells great, and the bag looks great with this material, with this fabric. The bag is not completely made out of leather. The back panel has this soft back panel that is not made of leather, but everything else on the outside is leather. And this again is speculation on my part. I will talk more about the pricing at the end of this video, but I do speculate that the process in which this leather is being made and processed to make it more weather resistant or waterproof compared to other leathers is probably the reason why this bag is so expensive. Is this worth the price? I will discuss that later in the video, but as I said, from my perception and my experience, this bag, or more specifically the leather of this bag, feels amazing. Alright, now let's talk a little about the usability of this bag. As you have been seeing previously, I put a lot of the stuff inside the bag, and I was able to fit a bunch of items that I needed for work in here as well. I do like all of the features of the compartments, meaning the slots in the main compartment, but also the quick access compartment and the laptop compartment. That being said, while I do like the usability of this front quick access compartment with my extended EDC and all of these slots for like pens and stuff like that, I am somewhat missing another quick access compartment. You know, I use quick access compartments a lot for quick storage of my wallet, my keys. For example, if I'm going through the security check, I always use quick access compartments for that. And to me, this pocket is not necessarily, in terms of how I utilize it, a quick access compartment, but rather somewhat akin to the front admin panel that we see on many other backpacks. So this is not necessarily the quick access compartment how I envision it. This is my front admin panel compartment for items like this extended EDC. And while I could just drop in my wallet into this pocket, this only has a one-sided zipper whilst being in front of the bag, and therefore very easy to get to from a pickpocket's perspective. So not being able to kind of lock this, and more importantly being very exposed to my bag, I kind of do not want to use this for essential items like my wallet. Therefore, it would have been great to have like a side quick access pocket for my wallet, for example. That is definitely something that I was missing. The laptop compartment is great. I did not use it for my laptop. I used it for my tablet, but it is a great place to securely store your laptop. And more importantly, your laptop is well protected with the suspended bottom, meaning that if your laptop is inside and you drop the bag down too quickly, the laptop won't hit the ground because it is suspended a couple of centimeters off the bottom of the bag. You also have a slot for a tablet, although I always wonder who is actually bringing a laptop and a tablet. If you are one of those persons who carries both, please let me know in the comment section below why you do that. I understand when you're traveling, you rather want to watch movies on a tablet, but I I really wonder if that extra weight is actually worth it, or if it wouldn't be just better to open your laptop and then watch a movie on your laptop. So yeah, if you carry a laptop and a tablet, let me know why you're actually considering the extra weight to carry both of those devices. So next up is the main compartment. And as I just previously mentioned, I really enjoy all of the slots and compartments in this main compartment. You can organize your items in these slots quite well. That being said, depending on what items you put into these slots, these obviously take up volume of your main compartment. That is given, but I mean it in terms of if you have something bulkier, for example, the case of my DJI Pocket 3, it kind of bulks up in terms of getting in your way if you want to store something in. If it's bulky like this, you kind of always bump against those items that are in these slots. So you kind of need to balance out what you want to put into these slots, and I feel it's probably much better to have like slimmer items in these slots. For example, I store this small little USB keyboard in one of these slots, and for that is perfect, and it makes grabbing these types of items much easier than if they would be somewhere rummaging around the main compartment. This front zipper compartment here in the lid is also great. This was the place where I stored my wallet. That being said, this pocket is fairly deep, so if you store something in that pocket, it slides down almost to the height of about here, so you kind of have to dig very deep to get to your wallet. Furthermore, if stuff is inside, it is even more difficult to get into whatever is in this mesh pocket. And yeah, it makes it quite apparent for me, I would have loved a quick access compartment somewhere on the side. Also, whatever is here is also kind of eating up from the main compartment. But from my experience, this bag has plenty enough space to carry all of your work essentials, especially considering I'm a very special use case, meaning I carry not only a tag pouch, which I would argue is common nowadays, many people carry a tag pouch, but I also carry a mechanical keyboard. Not those slim Apple keyboard, but a very thick and bulky mechanical keyboard. Plus, I always carry these huge editing Sennheiser headphones. So if you're an air quotes a regular person who carries just the bare essentials for work, then I would argue this 16 liters is plenty enough to carry all of your stuff, because I was able to carry a bunch of items. So in terms of usability, very usable. Now, what did I not like about this bag? And I mentioned this previously in the video, these zippers. So I have been using this bag now for a while, and I was hoping that these zippers would kind of wear in and would get a little bit smoother. I kind of speculated that when I unpacked this bag in the first days when I used this bag, that the zippers would need to kind of break in to become a little bit smoother in operation, but I don't know, you can kind of hear it. For a 900 euros or $900 backpack, these zippers are high quality. I'm not saying that these are bad zippers in terms of durability and quality, but these are not YKK zippers. I can see a label on here and I think it says OOK. I'm not sure. I haven't heard about these types of zippers before, but for 900 euros, I would have loved a zipper that operates a little bit more smoothly and doesn't feel as, it seems it has a little bit of friction to it. It doesn't feel smooth. And as I said, for 900 euros, I would have loved some zippers that are a little bit smoother. Again, in terms of durability and in terms of heft and perceived quality, these feel good, but the operation of them is not as smooth as I would have hoped. Here also, it's not great. If this would be a cheaper bag, then I would say that's totally fine. But for 900 euros, I expect better zippers. For some reason, the zipper here on the back is much smoother. But the two zippers here at the front, they feel scratchy. scratchy in terms of sound and in terms of operation. And as I previously mentioned, I would probably lubricate them to make them a little bit smoother and a little bit better in operation. But I would have wished these would be smooth in operation and in sound right out of the gate, right from factory, to be quite honest. That is definitely downside. This top grab handle is amazing. This feels really soft, feels good. It has a rubber texture on the bottom, so when you carry it, it doesn't dig into your hands. It's very comfortable to carry. I usually like to have a side grab handle, but with the size of this bag, you don't need a side handle. The shoulder straps are very comfortable, and I really like that there is a strap and organizer at the bottom. But as I mentioned in the segment where I was riding my motorcycle, this soft fabric that is around the shoulder straps is great to protect all your delicate garments. That is amazing, and I think that is really important if you're wearing a suit or a nice bottom down, or if you're a female, a nice dress. You really want to protect your clothing to not have the backpack kind of create pilling on your shoulders of the clothing that you're wearing. So having this soft outer fabric around the padding of the shoulder straps is a really good idea and will prevent being very abrasive on your garments. That being said, I really wonder how this will hold up in the long run. I mean, like in 3 years, 4 or 5 years. I really don't know, and that is definitely something to keep in mind. But if you're not wearing like motorcycle gear like I was during the testing, then I think this won't be that exposed to a lot of abuse. So if you're wearing this with a suit every single day, I would speculate that this would still hold up very well. And yes, I think there needs to be a balance point of what you want to have. Do you want something that is very durable but would be very abrasive on your clothing, or do you want something that protects your outfit and therefore your appearance when you're going to an important bank meeting? I think that is a really good balance. The back padding has the same, or not the same, but it also has a soft fabric, so it won't create pilling on your clothing. So I think that is a really good thought about that. You have a luggage pass through. I didn't use that, but I think for business travelers that is very important. Now let's get to the big elephant in the room, the pricing. From what I understand, the pricing is determined by how the leather has been treated, how the bag has been created, and just from that perspective alone, I don't know if the price is justified, but in my mind, especially good leather is expensive. And then if you consider that leather has been treated the way it has been treated in this case, meaning water protection, water resistance, and having a very, as far as I understand, sustainable manufacturing process, and this leather being very soft, I can somewhat understand that the price needs to reflect that manufacturing process. So yeah, I can see that that might be justified. Now, is the bag worth this price? That is a completely different question, and something that obviously you need to kind of answer yourself. But as also mentioned in the introduction, you kind of need to take into consideration the people who are looking for these types of bags. Those people who are in a premium segment, in a potentially luxury segment. If you watched my podcast about expensive bags, then you have seen those Tumi bags, those remover bags, which are all in the 1,000 euro price bracket. And those bags, in my eyes, don't look as good as this bag does. They usually look a little bit, I don't want to say it really because I don't want to offend anyone, especially because I am in the same age bracket. Some of those remover bags look a little bit boomer style. So they don't look cool, but still they cost 1,000 euros. Then you have those luxury brands like Hermes, Louis Vuitton and stuff like that. Those also are 1,000 euros. probably not manufactured in a very sustainable way. And I honestly would sometimes argue the pricing of those bags don't really reflect the leather that they're using. Then there are, and I'm not competing this bag with those bags, but just to keep that in mind, then there are Hermes Birkin bags that are 20,000 K for the bags. And yeah, I'm just saying that probably the people who are looking for this bag are very used to paying a 4-figure price tag for some of the bags that they want to use, especially in combination with, let's say, an Armani suit, for example. Honestly, I love Black Amber, for example, or I love Evergoods, but I would never, me personally, your mileage might vary, but I would never, if I would wear a fancy suit, I don't own a fancy suit, but if I would wear a fancy suit, I would not wear a Black Amber bag to that suit. You know what I mean? I would probably wear this. And I feel like people who invest in a Hugo Boss suit, they want a bag that is fitting to their attire. And those people, at least from what I see, would not hesitate to buy a bag that is 500 euros upwards and probably more in line of 1,000 euros. They probably would go, just because of the brand recognition, go with the Tumi backpack, and then they would pay 1,000 euros. Considering the competition this bag might want to compete in, so Tumi, Rimowa, Louis Vuitton, whatever, 900 euros compared to a 1,000 upwards bag from Tumi, for example, I think this probably is justified. For us in the bag enthusiast space, I would argue probably not. I like this bag, don't get me wrong. This is a great bag in terms of the usability, in terms of looks. But the pricing, and especially considering some of the trade-offs that I mentioned, not having a quick access compartment, these zippers not being as what I would expect from a 900 euro backpack, I probably wouldn't recommend this. I would go with a different bag, and therefore I would say don't buy this, buy something else. But for the target demographic that I'm speculating this wants, the space, premium space that this bag wants to compete in, very good. Well, not very good. I would say a very good recommendation, because if you are the kind of person who wants to buy a Tumi bag and you ask me, hey, which bag should I buy that fits my outfit and, I don't know, fits my Lamborghini or whatever, I would say go with this bag. As a very good competitor, I would also say maybe check out Grams 28. I also reviewed a backpack, the Stealth backpack from Grams 28, and these two bags would compete with each other. I would say you can see that video in the info tab above. And yeah, I would say if you are looking for that kind of bag, leather, good looking, business type of bag, this is a great bag. But also take a look at the Grams 28 bags. And yeah, that's basically my verdict. I would say if you are a bag enthusiast like I am, if you're watching this channel, you are a bag enthusiast, this probably is not for you, because you probably would rather have an Evergoods backpack for 400 euros less, or even more euros less, but that also has a different appeal and different look to it, and probably a different use case. And considering the price, there are probably other bags that could compete with the look of this backpack without having to deal with such a hefty price tag. But if you are looking for something to invest in, to also consider the manufacturing process of this leather, yeah, take a look at the Troubadour Generation Leather Backpack. And I would really know from you, what do you think about the price of this bag, especially if you keep in mind the target demographic. I know that we always kind of look at the bag and consider the price point, the value, and the return of investment of all of the items that we buy, be it cameras, be it phones, be it bags. But yeah, I think this is something that you kind of need to look at it from a different perspective, meaning who's buying this, what they are buying this for, how much will they use it, how much return of investment do they have. So with that in mind, what do you think about this bag and the price tag? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you actually consider buying this bag or any of the other items mentioned in this video, please consider using one of the affiliate links in the description below. With those, you won't pay more, but you will support the channel with a small kickback of that sale. If you do so to support this channel, thank you very much. And if you are looking for a different office bag, check out the video up here and leave your things if you like the video down here. And don't forget to subscribe by clicking the button up here. Thank you very much.